Splinter Cell: The Secret Mission by Son of Ulti. After watching many playthroughs of my old video games on YouTube, I was getting more and more anxious to relive my childhood. I decided to head to GameStop to find any games that could help feed my nostalgia. There it was, the Splinter Cell trilogy. Splinter Cell Pandora Tomorrow, and Splinter Cell Chaos Theory. I had found the perfect way to spend my weekend and cure this feeling. When I was about 11, I picked up the first Splinter Cell at a bargain store, and began my journey into the game of stealth. Being a part of a secret government agency sneaking past cameras and using the darkness to conceal myself from enemies, and interrogating people for useful information was exactly what caused me to fall in love with this series. Over time, I bought Pandora Tomorrow and Chaos Theory days after their release, and they exceeded my expectations. Now here I was, 20 years old and driving home eager to indulge myself all weekend with Doritos, chocolate milk, and Splinter Cell. This remake was on the PS3, so it took a while to get used to the controls. Triangle to jump, L1 to aim, R1 to shoot, X to initiate commands, the usual stuff. After going through the training level 3 times to get myself used to the buttons, I played my heart out. All weekend, I completed every mission on every game, went up in difficulty, and even gave myself challenges like, don't kill anyone unless Lambert, your boss, deems it mandatory, go through all missions with no alarms, use the pistol the entire game, etc. Above all, I love the fact that there were now achievements, since the remakes were on PS3. I was now Sam Fisher, highly trained NSA agent, and I couldn't get enough. All throughout the weekend, I stayed glued to the games. A lightning storm raged on Sunday evening, causing the power to go out, so I had to cut on the generator. Of course, this didn't stop my indulgence, so I cut on the absolute necessary things. Refrigerator, PS3, television, Wi-Fi, and made sure that I had some bottles of fresh water laid out in case I need to go to the bathroom, or had to wash my hands. Otherwise, I covered myself up on the couch, picked up my controller, and continued playing in the darkness. I had beaten Pandora Tomorrow on expert difficulty on my previous playthrough, and as I went back for another round, I noticed it unlocked an elite difficulty. Excited, I chose it right away, ready to see how sensitive the AI was this go-around. After getting about halfway through the game, there is a part where you're on the rooftops in Jerusalem and have to rappel down the side of a building and meet up with a woman to obtain information. You have to go quietly because there's a guard at the bottom of the building with his back turned. Usually after rappelling down, I sneak up behind him and knock him out into the shadows to easily run to the meeting point instead of being stealthy. But this time I decided to see if I could sneak around him and find an alternate route. I walked to the edge of the building and used my binoculars to scope out an area, looking for a route, when Sam let out a horrific scream. I was shocked and jumped a little when I realized I had accidentally walked forward and fallen off of the building. Weirdly enough, I landed on top of the guard at the bottom. Sam did the animation of a takedown from above. Shaken up but relieved, I decided to reload my save progress because I was attempting a no-damage run. When I got back to the rooftop, my game froze. I was distraught, thinking I had just lost all the progress I had made. Before I turned off the PlayStation, the screen's color went negative and a loud static sound erupted from the speakers, causing me to cover my ears. Suddenly, the noise stopped. Lambert's face popped up on screen. It seemed to be distorted in a way that caused a disturbing smile on his lips. I was confused and awestruck. Under his face was a text box with the words, yes and no. Curiously, I pressed yes. The game went black. I couldn't understand what was happening. Eventually, the game snapped back to normal, except Sam was in the woods at night, and it was raining. Lambert came over his earpiece and angrily said, "Sam, new mission. There is a consultant for the terrorists in an abandoned house up ahead, and we need you to assassinate him immediately." Excitedly, I eagerly picked up my controller and began running through the woods. Apparently, I had initiated a glitch somewhere in my gameplay and triggered a secret mission. I had never researched secrets for the Splinter Cell series, so my fascination fueled me to take in every little detail about this. It also got me thinking about looking up more secrets for finishing this mission. Lightning flashed and thunder boomed in the game. It was brighter and louder than I had anticipated. My heart started pounding faster as it began to feel more realistic, which was amazing. I found the house and looked up at it. The rain was creating a flowing water animation over the camera, making it harder to see. I decided to put on my night vision goggles to get a better view in the dark, but soon realized that it had been equipped since the beginning of the mission. It was far darker than I thought. I soon found some stairs that led to a front door and climbed them. I walked up to the window near the door and attempted to see inside. I could only make out a dim light in the corner and a couch. The rain wasn't a problem anymore because the roof stopped the animation, but it was still darker than usual. I chose the option to stealthily open the door, and my noise meter stayed at 0. I had no idea where the consultant was in the house, so I needed to be as quiet as possible. I sneaked behind the couch, using my heat vision. I could tell someone was sitting on it. They seemed to be watching television. Immediately, Lambert came on again. "That's your target, Sam. From our readings on your goggles, the consultant is directly in front of you. Take care of him," he said in a sharp tone. It felt strange not knowing much about this mission. I guess it really wasn't thought out too well. As it was just a bonus mission, right? I silently stood up, pulled out my pistol, aimed at his head, and pressed. That was Splinter Cell, the secret mission. Final thoughts? Generic with a poorly thought out twist. This story was a generic paint-by-numbers creepypasta. A few paragraphs about playing an old game from a person's childhood, a thing happens that isn't supposed to that shakes up the player, but they shrug it off and continue with what they were doing. Game distorts and gives the player a generic yes-no text box with little to no context, and in the end, the game affects real life for no even remotely explained reason. Although the twist ending is an interesting idea, here's how it doesn't work. This story is written from the first-person perspective. That means that this is a retelling of the events after they've already happened. Now, typically the person is alive for this, but you do see in some stories that the character does die at the end, and part of the twist is that the story is being told to you from beyond the grave. The problem is that either way doesn't make any sense. If the character is telling us this beyond the grave, there's no reason for him to stop telling us the story when he shoots himself. If he isn't telling us from beyond the grave, then this story just doesn't make any sense because he couldn't have told us any of it. Overall, I like the idea for the ending, but none of it really works. That's it for this creepypasta. Tune in again next time for yet another video game creepypasta. If you want to write your own story, help Pierre edit a story, or even just read the stories early, check out the description where you'll find a link to the creepypasta section of my forum. You'll also find a link to the playlist of every creepypasta reading I've done. If you're interested in keeping up with me on my blog posts, join the Facebook fan page linked below. And if you want to support me and what I do, check out my Patreon page in the description. Remember that if you want to have your story read on the show, you must stay active on your post on the forum, as well as read the forum rules. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, sweet dreams.